This week on Fishing Canada, we'll take you pike fishing in a landlocked marsh just off of Lake Ontario. We'll show you how to make these swampy back bays pay off for you. We'll also show you some ice fishing tips using jigs and spoons. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Yes, we're in for some good fishing in Canada.
Welcome, folks. Today we're going to show you a little different type of fishing. It's called pike fishing. You all know what pike are. My special guest is Randy Jennings. He's a local fisherman from Bowmanville. I'll tell you, he's top notch too. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Reno.
Where are we fishing today?
Oh, we're fishing a little landlocked pond off of Lake Ontario. Actually, it used to be connected to Lake Ontario about 5 years ago, but there's still buildup and that's locked it off. So there's a lot of pike caught up in here. They can't get out, and they've just adapted to the weedy conditions of the pond.
Are we likely to catch anything else today?
Oh yeah, we should get a few fish. It's a little later in the season right now. It can be a lot more productive earlier on in the year, but right now it's still good. We'll get fish today.
What kind of baits are we going to be using mostly?
Inline spinners, some surface, spinner baits, anything that's small and tantalizing, something they're going to hit, you know, a little bit of plastics, a little bit of this and that. Anything that will imitate maybe a minnow or a snake or anything that they may feed on in a small pond like this.
Well, Randy, today I tell you, I'm usually excited anytime I can go out fishing. But the weather conditions, the way they are, and the weather, just generally the way it is, I feel really, really comfortable.
It is a beautiful day. We couldn't have asked for a nicer day than today.
So what I say is, why don't we go out and do it?
Yeah, sounds like a great idea. We ice fished here. Caught fish.
Pike?
Yeah.
What else is in here, Randy?
Perch, silver bass. There's not a large population of carp, but there's a few, and there seems to be more suckers than carp in here, which is odd for a marsh. Usually you'll see you'll see the carp, but at that time I guess that's what was stuck in here was the suckers. The carp weren't quite running yet because it was the spring when it closed up. We had a really bad spring there about 5 years ago, a lot of rough weather, and it just closed that mouth right off. Well, these fish...
Like I was saying, this is just a bay off Lake Ontario.
That's all it is.
Right off Lake Ontario, not very far, maybe 100 feet in. I mean, we're probably, I can see Lake Ontario from here, it's maybe 100, 200 feet from us. Oh, do you see it boil over there?
Yeah.
And it looks like the gravel and everything from the beach is just washed up and locked this water in here. Look at this guy.
Oh, boy.
A little juice on him. Oh, I don't think it particularly matters with pike. It's all visual. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh, you've got a whole bunch of that fish formula stuff on it, eh?
Uh-huh.
Those scents really work though. Especially you get those wary fish that'll follow.
Yeah.
They'll always take a whiff of it. Yeah, look at the fish in our aquarium at work. Same thing. You see them come up to the minnow. They always give it a good sniff before they swallow it. And then mind you, they've been caught once, so they know better. That looks good. That looks too good.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's for the fishermen, that's all.
It's too big. Actually, you can never
by
go...
the fish and say, wait a minute, that's not a natural bait. What the heck's going on here?
You can never go too big on these guys. Never. Just no way.
You got it?
Yep.
Good stuff. Any size to them?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Want to get the net?
Get them over these weeds. Oh, he's just a little one.
Oh, well. Fish is a fish. There you go.
It's a little bit fatter than the last one.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me about that color.
Hey, I haven't caught a fish yet this morning. I'm going to have to cut that lure off your bait. Off your line. He's off?
Yeah.
Isn't that a cute little fish, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Little snake. Then we'll catch him again a little later.
Got like a ton of bricks, did he? You see the ball? He's just skipping it over a pad. Whoosh.
One thing about these pike, they're really, really aggressive. No matter where you find pike, you'll find that they're really aggressive.
Oh, yeah. See these weeds when they're green like this. The green weed or any type of vegetation, like even the pads, will take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. And that makes for a higher oxygen level, and everybody knows that if there's a higher oxygen level, then there'll be more fish around because there's more air for them to breathe. That's basically what happens when you get into an area like we were in a minute ago there, where the weeds were green, but there was more brown weeds than green weeds. Those brown weeds are rotting vegetation, and rotting vegetation takes in oxygen and releases carbon dioxide, which fish can't breathe. And you won't find them as productive as areas like the area we're in right now.
Yeah, if they have a choice, they'd rather go to the area.
And it's natural for some weeds to be brown like that. It's just it's just part of nature, you know. Some of them rot, they don't get enough sunlight, you know. They don't get enough sunlight, that happens. Oh, yeah, there's one. Oh, yeah, way out there.
A little better?
As soon as it hit the water.
Nice fish, nice fish. Hey, the biggest one so far? No.
No, just a small one.
Oh, he's not bad. Oh, boy.
One thing that I really noticed really incredible about these fish in here, stagnant body of water like this, you'd think that the fish would have parasites, but they don't. I've never caught a fish out of here with any signs of any, you know, like those endoparasites, the type you see on the outside. Like you get them on walleye sometimes.
Those little black dots you're talking about?
Yeah, little black dots and that. You don't get them in these fish in here. They're really healthy fish. I don't think they're fed as much as they like to be. There are skinny fish by nature in here, but they're healthy on the other hand. Like big head and small body are usually a sign of a fish that's underfed. But that's good. It makes for good fishing, and as you can see, they're not lying around dead of starvation or anything.
Oh, did you see that one?
You just had, oh yeah, oh yeah.
There. Right there.
Yeah. See, now we're getting back into that water again.
Yeah, hopefully, look at this. No, but it's that type of weed. See that type of weed?
Yeah, that evergreen. That's it again. This stuff right here. This is the stuff right here. And for some reason, yeah, whenever we get into this, here I've dropped a whole bunch of it in your boat too.
Never seen that before. It's like a fern.
Yeah, it's an underwater Christmas tree. Whenever we get into that weed, we catch fish. You feel how it's kind of got a rough texture to it too? It's odd, but that's the stuff, and that's what they like.
That was a good sized fish too.
Yeah.
Probably a 3-4 pound area.
Uh-huh. I just saw the boil there. It was a pretty big boil he left.
Oh, look at this bird.
He likes
They're
us.
not afraid around here, are they?
No, nothing. Nothing seems to phase anything around here. Oh, see that? He hit it twice.
Yeah. Drop it.
No. Oh, yeah, I did what you said. I did what you said, Reno.
Get back in there for a second.
I did what you said, buddy. I dropped it, I felt it, boof, boof.
They're great. They're not shy at all, you know?
He came up twice and missed it, and then when I dropped it, I felt him hit. But unfortunately, I didn't get the hook into him fast enough. They're hard fish to hook, not so much because they've got a big mouth. It's just a matter of them getting their mouth over the lure. They've got a horrible aim.
They can't see.
They
see straight up. Nothing in front of them.
They're by no means the marksmen of the underwater world. They're very, very sloppy in the way they hit things. That's why I find sometimes, like a fast retrieve turns them on, but sometimes you have to go slow for them to be able to actually catch what you're using.
Put the old brakes on, in other words.
Funny thing though, I've never had a really large fish miss. Like what I mean by really large is a 10-pound fish and up. It just seems like those fish have a good aim, and that's why they're big.
Well, there was much more mouth to them too.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be right back with more Fish in Canada.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, right in that little open pocket in there.
Yeah.
You can't see him though. You see how he just comes up for a second?
Yeah.
Well, that actually sinks, eh?
Yeah.
You know what would probably get him? A plastic worm.
Yeah.
There he is again.
He's not moving either. He's not very shy.
I just caught a look at him there.
Any size to him?
Yeah, it looks about a 5-pound pike. I thought at first it may have been a carp, but it is a pike. He just kind of snaked the surface a bit there.
Try a different spoon.
Right in that pocket he just boiled.
This way, right here?
Yeah, right there.
Whoa. Oh, wow, look at him.
You can look at him. Always has something happen in a day of fishing that's out of the ordinary.
And this certainly is.
Oh,
You got one?
oh no, look at that.
Where?
Oh, a big one too.
Right behind it?
Yeah, he hit about a foot behind it. Right off that edge. You got it. You got it. Right off the edge, a good sized fish too. He just missed it just missed it. He couldn't have, just take your breath away, you know? You just take your breath away when you see that. Oh, see that? Come on.
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, I got him. I got him.
All right. That's not a bad fish. Hang on, get that.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
He hit, but he swam towards the boat. I didn't know I had him on. That's why I lost him. I didn't set the hook. I said, did you see that? I looked, and my line was going like
sideways. I saw him at the same time, man. Well, these things are fun. It's really exciting.
Oh, yeah. You can't beat the action. Really, you can't.
You know, this would be a great place to bring a kid and teach them how to fish. I bet you could really turn them on to fishing.
So things.
Well, I'm excited about the possibility of some big ones being in here. That we did see one dead pike.
Yeah.
With the teeth marks in them there, and I'm excited about catching that one.
Yeah. Well, I've caught big ones out of here. I got that 2 weeks ago. I got one 40 inches long. And that's something to get a fish that big in this type of cover. It's really a blast. The small ones keep you busy while you're doing it. Those big ones.
You tried any jigs, working jigs right along the bottom of this thing?
Twister tail jigs seem to. Oh, I just had one go after it there.
Drop it down.
Oh,
there was.
I dropped it and he hit it again.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, twister tails seem to work good. Skirted jigs, I don't have as much success with.
You ever tried any minnow type jigs?
Yeah, you see those white ones in my box there. With the,
you have any luck with those?
Yeah, really good luck with those.
Just working them right along bottom?
I like
Or
cranking them all close to the top, yeah. All close. Even when I'm in 4 feet of water, I like to keep that lure no more than 2 inches below the top. See how it is right now? Yeah. Like that. That's how I'm hitting all my fish. Really close to the top. Well, they love to just plow right up on top of things. It seems like that cool breeze off the lake just turns them on. Especially in the evenings. The evenings are when I've caught all my big fish, in the evenings.
Well, they come out of the deep, I think, Randy, and toward the shallow.
They're hanging around in that 6, 8 feet of water out there, and then they start prowling around in the evening. I've always felt that that's what they do too.
You know, there's got to be a big horse in here too.
Yeah.
He could be the king of the pond, we'll call him.
Yeah. Well, we have caught regularly large fish, you know, in excess of 9, 10 pounds.
Uh-huh.
And when you catch some larger fish that regularly, then you know that there has to be larger ones.
Sure.
You know, if you, like what we've been catching this morning is, you know, the smaller fish, but there are a good amount of larger fish in here. So it makes it so interesting.
Well, that trough you're talking about is just up ahead of us, isn't it?
Yeah, just up around the corner here. It's deeper, but if you get to some parallel casts along these stick-ups here, you get into some good fish. There's one.
Yeah. Good fish, Randy. Good fish. Come on, baby.
Just came right out of nowhere there.
Maybe a bit.
Just look at right in the top lip. Just I didn't think I got a piece of him. There you go. Just came right up there and nailed it right off the top. What a fish. These stinger hooks are really something, you know. They really are. I'm telling you. I wouldn't use a treble hook again on anything.
Because of the very warm weather, we were faced with some very tough fishing conditions. It had been very warm for 3 days previous to our shoot, and with mile-high skies, that meant one thing: slow fishing. Because the weather was so warm, the oxygen level in the water was very low, and almost all the fish we caught were not very aggressive. As a matter of fact, the fish were so slow in reacting that we had more short strikes than we did hits. Of course, the balance of nature and landlocked marsh is very delicate, and in such a small area, it would be very easy to fish it out. And for that reason, we're not going to give you its exact location. But any marsh off the Great Lakes will hold a healthy population of pike, and we suggest you get your rod and reel and get out and try some of these areas. Well, next to panfish, pan fishing with worms, this is probably the most exciting way you can get somebody new into fishing.
Oh yeah.
If you get it to a place with lots of numbers.
That's right. And there's lots of places around.
Uh-huh.
They're not hard to find. You've just got to have a little bit of initiative in you to seek out places and find places like this where it's really not a lot of people fish, and people don't really, they even know it's here, but they don't know there's fish in here. But you see a body of water like this, oh, see that? I even waited a second that time, and he's still, try and take her to the outside a bit, and we'll
Cast in.
Yeah, we'll plug at him a couple of times maybe. I don't think I got a good piece of him. He felt like a good fish.
You got him. Just a little guy, but you got him.
Yep.
Just the same. Come on up here, baby.
The same one.
Watch your hands on that hook. He's a real
Little
They
baby,
like the shake, doesn't he? It's a
Yeah.
little snake.
little baby snake. He's only a little guy, but they hit hard and they're exciting. And a lot of people sit back and laugh and go, look at that little thing. How could he get a thrill to catching something like that? But if you could have seen the way that fish came up and hit it, and you just put him back in the water and he'll hit again tomorrow.
Maybe he'll lead us to his mother.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, we've caught a lot of fish today.
Yeah, done quite well, actually.
Getting a little bit late now.
I always come out with a low expectation. That way I'm always pleased at the end of the day.
Yeah, 5 strike out. Although today we had a really good day.
Yeah, you know, all things considered, it is getting on in the season, and we did quite well. We've seen some big fish at the edge of the boat, which is just as good as catching them as far as I'm concerned, any day of the week.
And we've caught a few.
Yeah, yeah.
Heck, nothing to be shy about the fish we caught today. Well, folks, today my guest has been Randy Jennings. Randy, it's been a pleasure fishing with you, sir. I've really
thanks.
enjoyed it. Hope we can come back real soon. Don't catch another fish now, right now.
I get a little over anxious sometimes.
Stay tuned for more Fish in Canada.
Welcome to Tackle Tips. Today we're going to show you how to properly jig spoons through the ice for ice fishing. Now there's a number of different colors and sizes and shapes and whatnot in the spoons themselves. Here's just a few. Reds and chartreuse seem to be the most popular, with silver or a gold plating on the other side. Like I say, they come in all sorts of different colors, with spots, with stripes, fluorescence, and just straight paint. Now the idea behind the spoons, it's basically an attractor. And as you're jigging it, it's fluttering all the way down to the bottom or the depth that you're going to be lowering it to. When you pull it up to jig, it'll come straight up and then flutter back down, straight up and flutter back down. As it's fluttering, it's spinning, picking up light rays and giving that reflection that the fish are attracted to. Now, it's not just the jig itself that you're going to be using. There's a lot of tricks and whatnot that you add to them. And Pete, I know you've got a bunch of them in your tackle box, so maybe we can go over a couple of them right now.
Okay, and so you got a couple of things, not a real lot of tricks, but there's a few things I think you can help some of the people out. The first thing I do if I have a lot of open water or bare bottom is add a little stinger hook on there. All I do is take a little piece of monofilament, about 12, 14 pound test, tie it around the hook. You can do it around the hook or the split ring or whatever you want to do. Take a little treble hook and tie it on that.
What size would that treble hook be, Pete?
Oh, I'd say stick with about a 12 or a 14.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Yeah, it's small, but it's hooked on the tail of the minnow, and that's got to get in the walleye's mouth. You don't want them to feel it. So you got to keep it small. And then I take a minnow, and I'll put it, I can just show you as a matter of fact. It's kind of cold on the hands.
Let's do that.
Good
While
trick
you're-
might be to bring in,
While you're doing that, I'll just catch us a fish.
oh, do that, would you please? I just take my minnow, I come up through the bottom of the jaw, straight through the head, straight through the skull. That's the hardest part of a minnow to hold on. I take the little treble, and I just stick it in his body somewhere, something like that. Now that minnow will probably die in a matter of no time at all, but sometimes the fish are short strikers, and you may just come up and grab that part of the minnow.
It's not important that when you're using a jig for ice fishing that your minnow's alive, is it?
No.
Because you're putting all the action in it.
You're putting the action, that's just the meat. That's all that is, what the fish wants to eat. Then if you have a lot of rock bottom, or something where you don't want to use that little stinger hook, or if the fish are pretty aggressive when they're hitting good. I just take these, this is another way you can put them on. It's not necessary, but I like to do it. I take the treble hook off, leave the split ring on there, and I take the minnow, again, another one, and take the eye of the treble hook and push it right through the minnow's stomach, and you can't see it. I'll show you what it's done. And out through his back. So the minnow's on like that, and then put it back on your spoon. It's something you want to do when the weather is kind of warm, because any sub-zero temperatures and it's going to be too cold to do it. So you just stick it on there and the head otherwise.
Now that would also give that spoon a little more action, wouldn't it? Because the minnow sitting in the position that he is, when you're lifting up the spoon especially, you're going to, rather than the spoon coming straight up, you're going to get a little more side-to-side movement.
Yeah, exactly.